Absolutely, I will. And I'm not a huge fan of trying to tell you how amazing a person is. And yet, I do want to bring up Anne. Now, you see, Posturally LLC, but Anne is really about energy, about pain relief, about how to sit right there. I like the minute I saw her, I went like this. I was like, oh, okay, I got to sit back. So it's really about the human approach to healing the body. Okay. And she has worked with people on pain without the typical things, take a pill, do this, do that. So without any further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Anne, and she is going to enlighten all of us by talking about Energize your posture. And take it away.
Thank you so much, Natalie. First and foremost, I'm going to ask that you please do me a favor and raise your hand if you can hear me, because I've had mic issues. Excellent. Okay, good. All right. So actually, I'm going to put my computer back a little, then you'll be able to see me. So I really appreciate the introduction. I work with people in pain. I've helped people get past this, unschedule their back surgeries and similar things to that. And I also help people in offices. So when I have the opportunity to do Energize Your Posture, I thought, well, what can I get done in 10 minutes that might be of value for everybody as they sit at desks? Because in the 21st century, that's our mastodon. That's what, when we go to slay that thing to have dinner, it's really about being sedentary. And being sedentary is pretty unhealthy. But you can't always get away from the desk, right? So move this out of my way a little bit. Hopefully you can still hear me. So one thing you can do is learn about body alignment and breathing techniques that can help you remain alive and active within the body. So I'm going to give you a little, as much of a protocol as I can in the amount of time. And Denise, will you just let me know when it's no more my time, or how do I do that?
Yes, we will. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So, we talk about sitting at a chair. So sitting is our foundation when we are at the desk. So our bum sits on the chair and our feet can be flat on the floor. And that's all the support that we have for sitting in a general sense. Now, if you were to work with me, you'd learn a few other things about shoulders, but in general, we plunk our body's weight down on the chair, and we also can put our feet on the floor. So what I'd like you to do right now is put your feet flat on the floor with your toes pointed forward. You're learning the recommended ergonomic positions, so you'll have a little bit of knowledge to apply when you come back as well. And then if you can, and by the way, if you have a pain condition or something's bothering you, even if you have an intuitive hit that what I'm telling you doesn't fit you, that comes first. So please honor that. But ideally what we want to do when we sit is sit right on top of our two sitting bones. Whoops. I'm going to have to do this kind of MC.
Hey, Anne, we can't hear you. So you might want to, yeah.
All right, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
That is strange. There we go. I'm learning about sound. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So we have these two bones, and I'm talking fast because I have a lot I'd love to get through. I don't know if it's possible, but and they're on the underside of the pelvis. And so if you've ever been to a game where there's wood bleachers, or you sat on a wood stool for 15 minutes and your butt starts to hurt underneath, those are the two bones I want you to try to be up on top of. And in doing so, what's going to happen is your pelvic bone will be upright. And that sets you up for good lower body alignment when you're sitting, okay? Now, there's more to it to really embody this and get it in your body, but this is the recommendations that they give us from engineers and such. And then I wanted to talk about neck and shoulders, especially because most of us, I don't know about you, raise your hand if you do, you kind of end up the day like this a little bit with your back hunched over, right? So there's things we can do to alleviate that, things to know. And one of the biggest things people don't know is that the rib cage, which should be in line with that pelvis. So we just got our pelvic bone upright. We're sitting on those two sitting bones, and the whole pelvic bone all the way up just below your waist. That's one bone. And then we have a rib cage. It starts from about here and goes down to just above your belly button, depending on where you are, but in front, above your belly button a little bit, maybe about an inch or two. But that rib cage is a foundation for what your shoulders can do, what your arms can do, what your neck can do. And we want to, I think most people don't get that there's a lot of movement potential there, right? We just kind of accept that everything feels saggy and it's going to get hunchy and uncomfortable. And then we all of a sudden can't move our shoulders and our head goes like this. So I like to help people get energy, movement, and awareness in the rib cage to start. So what I'm going to ask you to do is imagine that this area of your whole trunk actually, but we'll do a lot with the rib cage too, is like a balloon. And when you inhale, you can imagine a balloon filling up with air. And so try that with me now. So taking a nice deep inhale, and as deep as you can without getting too over the top about it, and then exhale. And as you exhale, let the weight of your body just sink into the supportive surface where your bum is. So the chair will take your weight. You don't have to hold anything. You can relax. And the next time we do this, I want you to think about inhaling. You're going to inhale in front because that's natural, but also think about filling up the sides and back of that balloon, and really imagine the balloon is filling up with air as you take the air in, and you can see the material getting, translucent. You can hear the little squeaks as the balloon comes to being more filled up. And so expanding your world with air all the way around, sides and backs of your ribs as well. And then exhale. Let the rib cage, let every bit of your body weight from the top to the neck, the shoulders, the rib cage, the pelvic, just let it drop into the chair. You don't have to hold it there. Your body is intelligent. It has a design. When we can return to that design, it will take care of most of your support needs without pain. So that's trunk as balloon. And it's something, if you do it maybe 5-10 times, you're going to start to really notice. And your rib muscles and your rib muscles do two things, actually. They can help you breathe better and get more air in, and they are posture muscles. So by you tuning and tooling these with breathing techniques, your whole area is supported, and you're going to start to get more movement, which is excellent for shoulders. So with shoulders, and how many more minutes do I have, Denise? Approximately, what do you think?
You've got about 9 minutes.
Oh, wow. Oh, excellent.
Wait,
Okay.
wait, hold on a second. 1:10. I can't do my math. 6 minutes. Sorry.
6. Okay. So shoulders are like, a lot of people get the stuck shoulders. Some people can't move. The arms are connected to the shoulders. So let me talk to you about how that works. We have a front part of our shoulder girdle, which is the collarbones, and they go from the middle of the area underneath the neck here. You can probably feel them with your hands, and they go all the way out. And then in the back, we have these triangularly shaped bones that sit on the upper back, and they connect. They have a piece that goes out that connects to the collarbone, and they meet at the sides, and that's where your arms are, okay? So when we sit at a computer, again, we have this hunch thing that goes on, especially, we don't even notice that it happens, and it starts to increment, right? And so our shoulder girdle gets very scrunched up. The shoulder blades and back, they migrate away from the spine. And in doing so, they are no longer helping your posture. So when they're in a good, upright, aligned position, they actually help you not be a hunchback, because they're giving you support from the bones to push that hump forward. It's a natural thing. So there's 2 things I want you to have for this. Number one, I want you to recognize and think, and I'll give you a little experience about, we need wide shoulder blades, shoulder girdle. And again, because we're at the computer, they scrunch in, then this muscle here gets very tight. It's called the pec minor. It's a super important posture muscle, and it does this. So there's many, many things you can do, and I don't have time for them all, but one little mind body thing you can do while you're at your desk is feed an information to the brain around how wide your shoulder girdle really is. And then it will automatically take care of some of that for you. So it's called let your fingers do the walking. You take your 2 fingers, doesn't matter which hand, place it in this indentation under your neck, and then walk the 2 fingers over until you feel the collarbone, which is a cylindrical shape under your fingers. And you do not need a lot of pressure. You need the amount of pressure that you're feeling the collarbone under your fingers. And you want to kind of get a little internal so that you can really focus. And then you could take that balloon breath again, kind of inhale deeply. And then on the exhale, just walk the 2 fingers all across the collarbone. It's going to dip a little bit, then it's going to come back up a little bit, and then go all the way out to the sides where the arms connect. And then you can repeat on the other side, 2 fingers in this sternal notch, it's called. You don't have to memorize that. Walk them over till you feel the collarbone, that cylindrical shaped bone, and gently walk over, feeling what's under your fingers, dipping down as the bone dips down, and then coming all the way out to where the front of the shoulder girdle meets the back. That's where the arms are. And let the arms relax. And this is something I have given this to all kinds of clients with issues. And I remember one woman had serious jaw issues for years on end. And I gave her, and she did this like 3 or 4 times and the jaw pain was gone. And it's our posture awareness, this thing that feeds in from the mind and what we're used to and the brain into the muscles that creates that. So we can uncreate it with these kinds of techniques. Partially, you also need exercise as well. And then the other little tip I wanted to mention, so we said that the front of the collarbones are in the front, the shoulder blades are in back, and they connect on the side. So in that area is where the arms come. They're not directly tied to this place where they meet, but darn close. So I like to tell people that the arms they hang from the shoulders. They are suspended from the shoulders. It's not exactly true, but it's close enough for what we want to achieve. And so you can think of the arms as suspended from this place like wind chimes dangling in the breeze. And you don't need a lot of holding or pressing. When the body is well aligned, these pieces, they have natural support. And it's really interesting in the shoulders, again, because the arms are supported from above. So just check yourself, say, hey, what's happening? Are my arms free? Can I let go a little bit? You know, take another balloon breath to get some more posture support from the rib cage area. And there you go. So those are a few techniques. I have many more. Again, you can tell me, Denise, if I have a few minutes, I can teach one more for the head and the neck.
Teach one more.
Okay. So we've actually created a foundation. We started from your sitting foundation right on top of the 2 sitting bones, feet helping by being flat on the floor, toes pointed forward. Rib cage, we need to ignite those muscles, get our breathing going. Shoulders, how aligned are they? This, unlike the rest of the body, they align widely rather than vertically. So that's a difference. Freeing the arms, getting rid of unnecessary tension, having beautiful alignment here. And then another little diddly that I'll finish with this in this, this little lesson is that so many of us do not understand where our head sits on our neck. Okay. So I don't know about you, but most people, clients and students, when I first give them this question, will say, well, I think my head sits on the neck like about here, something like that, because they get a lot of movement there. So this area is supposed to have a lot of movement, and it does, unless you have muscle tension, and that's a different topic. But in reality, where the bone, the skull sits on the head is at this level, about at your level of your eyes and your ears, all right? And so because of that, we want to know, we want to sense that. And I love this experience because it gives you the chance to not only feel this anatomy and this alignment, but to release eye muscles, face muscles, jaw muscles. It's going to be a little embarrassing. I hope you'll forgive me. But what I'd like you to do is put your fingers either in your ears very, very gently or just on the outside, right? And close your eyes and just take a nice deep breath. And then on the exhale especially, keep your focus in between those 2 fingers for a couple of breaths. And you can employ any of the, well, you wouldn't employ the shoulder one, but you can employ the trunk breathing if it suits you. And then especially on the exhale, you let go, but just keep that focus there and gently take your chin in the direction of the front of your neck and then back up again. If you want, that's the more advanced thing. And as you do, you just let things relax, especially in the back of the skull on the bottom and the neck. And now you're tuned into where the neck starts and the head ends, the neck starts, which is going to clarify your movements and help you tune into this whole area. Because in the posture that we've attempted to build in the short time that we've been together, we talked, where do you sit? How can the big rib cage help us with posture and movement? How to align the shoulders so we have freedom of movement in the arms. And now how the head sits on the neck so that this area from the neck to the top of the head can be an extension of the spine that's below. And that helps you avoid this kind of this thing, which for some people, they don't really, it's painful and tension filled, but it can also affect the lower back as well. So I hope I didn't talk too fast. I have lots to say and I wanted to share like a full package with you there. So thanks for your attention.
Thank you. Natalie, anything you want to add to all of that?
No, I love it. And I just want to point out, I'm taking notes. Okay. I mean, if you see, like, I'm always taking notes when I hear other experts talk, because I always learn something. What I found most interesting, everything that you said was really interesting. What I found interesting is that very often when I meditate and when I teach about meditation, we actually talk about putting our feet down and grounding ourselves. So I love that you said that. And then I had a question though, because very often when it comes to meditation, some people believe you need to sit in the lotus position, right? And it's the same. I don't necessarily, but I do. I can, but I don't. But it's the same idea of keeping the back straight, isn't it? So what would you say if somebody said crisscross, lotus position on a chair? Would that be acceptable?
Well, actually, I'm halfway through my teacher training, which is so interesting you ask. So, but what I would say is I myself don't do that because I have issues in my hips that I'm working through. And so if you want to meditate for a length of time, most of us can't handle that. It's something for younger people that are soft and that have not had injuries. So you need to be comfortable. And you do want to be in alignment, but there are pieces in the body, you don't have to have your legs crossed. You can actually sit in a chair, feet flat, just like we talked about, right? It's a good idea to have a little pillow in the small of your back because, and I didn't get into this as it's too much for the time we have, but the way that your pelvis tilts affects the way the angle between the legs and the trunk, which affects how much tension you have there, especially if there's been issues or you're older or whatever. And all of that also needs help from the low back, like it needs some support. So if you can support the low back with a little rounded pillow and have that nice, well-positioned foundation, then I think your meditation is going to be very productive because that's what I do. I mean, I was unable to do, and most people in my class, they're in their 20s up to their 70s and hardly anybody does that, So I think if you want to meditate, then, get yourself comfortable.
But what I love about it is that it's the same idea of sitting like that, right?
Yes.
It's the same idea of keeping everything in alignment, grounding your feet, letting your arms loose a little bit, and that makes the whole body so much calmer. I know you do, but there's much less stress on the shoulders. And it's always funny because can I ask another question, Denise? Because I love this topic. Okay, so I can't hear you.
My dog's barking, so I'm trying to mute myself.
Okay.
We need to go into the next one in literally under a minute. So
so
get a quick question.
One quick question. What do you do? Because you're talking about posture and pain. We all use mice these days, right? The computer mouse. And that means the right arm.
Okay. So the good news is we've covered this. This one, right? Squeeze your shoulder blades back and remind yourself throughout the day not to press. The more you get the upper body tuned and tooled properly, the less the tension and misalignment is going to transfer into your wrist. Have a keyboard work at a lower level than most likely than your desk surface, because these are too high for us. I don't know what the manufacturers are thinking, but we need a keyboard tray underneath it to lower the surface at which you work. It's going to create less tension.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Anne. As always, fantastic. We need to get you in front of the HR professionals groups. In fact, we're going to, guys. We are going to. The 4th Tuesday in September at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, noon Central Time. I don't know what it is, Germany time. We have a Taste of Wellness, which is a workplace wellness program. It's an hour-long program. Anne is our speaker for September to really take this to a whole nother level. You will find details on our website, not until this weekend is over with. But just know it's coming, and be in touch with me and watch our events page, especially on Facebook and LinkedIn, and you will find it. So Anne, I'm going to remove your spotlight. Thank you very much, my dear, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye. Be here.
All right. And now, and I like to keep to a schedule. I do have German